bring in Mehdi Hasan and Rachel. Do you get a sense of fiddling while Rome burns here?
You stole the words from my mouth, and it's what I was going to say, to fiddle with maternity rights and employment rights while we're on the verge of another Great Depression, I think is absurd. You talked about a lack of demand. That is the key. Demand, yeah. And I think when you talk about when Steve Hilton and Andrew Haldenby and others talk about this kind of, oh, we need to improve consumer spending. Well, one of the reasons people aren't spending across the country is because they're worried about losing their job.
Of course.
Insecurity. So the coalition says, let's make your jobs even more insecure because you could be...
Well, the coalition is not saying that.
I take it back.
Certain right-wingers in Number 10 are saying that.
Adrian Beecroft, a venture capitalist, says, let's make people's jobs
Nick Clegg,
more
the
insecure.
Liberal Democrats are not.
I get your point, Matthew. The Lib Dems are innocent of this.
No, he's got the point. Let him speak.
What you're not innocent of, and what
well,
I will blame you for one thing. Thank you for bringing me to that. What about VAT? If you want one proposal that would kickstart this economy, which even Nobel Prize-winning economists are saying, is cut VAT back to 17.5%. It's raised inflation. It's damaged small businesses who are claiming...
And what do you do when the bond markets go mad?
Well, the bond market...
You will add 12 billion to the deficit.
Well, how much does cutting a 50p tax cost? That's going to add money to it.
But they're not going to do that.
And a lot of economists think the VAT tax cut will pay for itself.
50p tax cut would cost less than 2 billion.
Well, the VAT tax cut under Darling paid for itself, according to a lot of economic studies.
Matthew, then I'm going to bring in a very patient Rachel here.
Can I respond on VAT? Because you specifically said VAT cut across the board, as Labour is suggesting, as you say, I think is much too expensive and would be a blunt instrument. Well, what Liberal Democrats believe, and I've been arguing for, and I know is being argued in government, is that we have a cut on VAT on house improvements, house repairs. That would cost a few hundred million, and that would be very effective. That is Lib Dem policy. It's now been actually picked up by Ed Balls, so I hope that doesn't mean it won't happen. But a targeted VAT cut is very important.
Got the point. Rachel, we've seen an argument between the two sides of the coalition here, but there is even an argument about all this in the Conservatives too, isn't there?
Completely.
Just inside the Tories.
Absolutely. I mean, actually, as much, if not more than Tory Lib Dem, it's a blue-on-blue fight. It's the sort of right-wingers. It's exemplified in a way by Lord Young and Lord Heseltine, who are the two advisors on growth to the Prime Minister. So Lord Young's the Thatcherite favourite, who's deregulatory, he's low tax, he'd probably, you know, lots of enterprise. Whereas Lord Heseltine wants intervention.
He's a more dirigiste.
He's a more dirigiste. He's in charge of the Regional Growth Fund. And I think David Cameron's got bits of both. And he's sort of struggling between the two at the moment in himself. But, you know, he's calling on Europe to have a big bazooka. I think we need a pretty big bazooka here too.
Lord Heseltine's an honorary Liberal Democrat for this purpose, like Ken Clarke.
I'm glad we found one. Matthew, Andrew, thank you very much. Of course, all will be revealed on November the 20th.